Hi, welcome. My name is Liz Rowlinson. I'm here with Sun Lawyers this morning. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. My name's Mark McMillan. I've been working since 2008 for Sun Lawyers and now head our relocation department.
Well, brilliant. We're here to talk at this point about everything you need to know about the Golden Visa, a really popular option for British people post-Brexit. And we've got a lot of interesting material to cover, and we hope this will be useful. So, Mark, could you just tell us, why do we need to get visas now? What is the Golden Visa?
Basically, since majority of our clients are from the United Kingdom, now with a non-EU status, there's after Brexit we'd need to go down a visa process if we want to relocate to Europe, and specifically for Spain. And the basis of this webinar, we're going to be discussing the Golden Visa. Okay, this is something amongst other types of investments. An investor with at least 500,000 euros bought in Spanish real estate, they can apply either for a Golden Visa sticker in the passport from a Spanish consulate, which is valid for 1 year, or an investor residence authorization whilst they're in Spain as a tourist, and with a visa sticker also within 6 months of a Golden Visa sticker, or in Spain you can make that switch to a 3-year permit. So this is something that's you can renew it after 3 years for a further 5 years.
Right, and yes, as you've made clear, Mark, with the Golden Visa, buying a property is one option, but you can also invest money as well into Spain. But we're here to talk about the property aspect today. So yeah. Could you tell us about what the basics, what are the benefits of this visa?
Well, over the period of the Golden Visa, you can spend as much time or as little time in Spain as you wish. Okay, and it also opens the way for more than 90-day stays in the whole Schengen area. Okay, the investor residence authorization, we're talking about the visa in the consulate, or in Spain, the permit application. You'll be able to get, and your family members, your dependent family members, access to a TIE 3-year residence permit. You'll be able to legally live and work in Spain. And after 5 years of continuously living in Spain, you'll be able to get the permanent resident status. And finally, after a further 5 years thereafter, you'll be able to get Spanish nationality and as a result, EU citizenship.
Yeah, and I think the benefit of this scheme is that you don't have to become tax resident in Spain. That's a choice, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no obligation to commit to the Spanish tax residence if you maintain your, in your country of origin, your status there. Okay, so the investor and the family members don't have an obligation to spend more than 6 months in Spain during the annual periods of the permit, unlike the digital nomad and non-lucrative permits. They'll have to spend more than 6 months. So it does open the way for you to be able to keep non-resident status, and that can be very beneficial for a tax, on the tax front.
Perfect. About the application process, please.
Well, the Golden Visa application, you'll need to present the required paperwork at the nearest Spanish consulate in your country of origin. And the process, well, there are also visa process companies as well, such as BLS International now in the UK, and you can expect about 10 days for that to be approved or processed. For an investor application in Spain, the paperwork's submitted online with an electronic signature, and it'll take about 20 days. And after approval, you'll have 30 days to visit the national police to do the TIE residence permit.
So is the process that you buy the property in Spain first, and you use the paperwork for the title deeds to then make the visa application?
exactly, the visa or the permit application. It can take, you know, approximately a month after completion to have the property registered into the investor's name, but we can submit, if we can prove that the deeds have been presented to the land registry, we can submit an application. We'll need a certificate from the land registry of debts and charges, and would need to show at least €500,000 in one or multiple properties invested in Spain.
And this could be a property that was that was purchased 5 years ago, couldn't it? It doesn't have to be one very freshly bought.
Exactly. They'll consider, when the law started at the end of September 2013, all purchases as of then will be able to be incorporated into the investment criteria.
Perfect. Would you be able to tell us about the different pieces of paperwork that you help buyers, applicants get together?
Yeah, the paperwork required, you'll need to show evidence that you have sufficient financial means to live in Spain, and also your dependent family members. Proof of healthcare in Spain, that's public or private healthcare. A clean criminal record certificate for the last from the countries where you've lived in for the last 2 years, and also a personal declaration from the countries you've lived in for the last 5 years. Proof of the required investment, that's from the local land registry and the title deeds. An application in Spain for the permit and not the golden visa will need to show that when the applicant legally arrived to Spain, would prefer to show with a Spanish entry stamp in the passports. And for dependent family members, will need to show a certificate of the bond that they share with investors, such as a marriage certificate, birth certificate, etc., or civil partners. They're included as well. They'll need to be legally, duly legalized and translated by a Spanish translator. That's the basic kind of paperwork. It obviously varies considerably from individual to individual what we're going to provide, such as the financial means. But I was going to say funds in Spain in a Spanish account, we don't need to translate a lot of paperwork if it's all in Spanish already. But any paperwork that we're going to present, such as UK statements, investment portfolios, etc., will all need to be legally translated as well.
Yeah, and you provide a lot of support to applicants in this process. I mean, it sounds quite frightening to manage on your own, to be honest. What are the aspects of the support that you offer in terms of the application?
Well, it can be quite a technical kind of process. We give a first free consultation at the beginning to confirm your eligibility and the cost involved. We'll be able to, I normally discuss with clients about their tax residence status and how it might affect them making a move or getting a residence permit in Spain. I'll assist with all the preparation of all the right paperwork and all at the right time, because some documents expire. I'd guide you through the whole process, including booking appointments, submitting documents, and also submit, sometimes they would require other documents. I'll also be able to help them submit all the other additional documents, and I'd persevere until we can get to a successful outcome, including rejecting any, appealing any rejections or any archival of applications, because it can happen. Sometimes documents, might take a while to arrive, but timing is the important factor here, and try and get it all in the right order.
Yeah, I know you've had some very successful applications and appeals from what you've said from speaking to people in the past, and I think you're right. Perseverance is the right thing, and you know exactly the process, so it makes sense for you to manage to get it right first time.
Well, also don't give up. I'm there, with clients. If we do if something, you know, was missing, we just persevere. I know the deadlines. We can appeal after, you know, up to 1 month after rejection or archival of an application. We can appeal during that period. And if we still couldn't comply with that regulation, we can appeal to a court. So we are a law firm who's able to give legal assistance as well, you know, with a court judicial appeal.
Brilliant. Well, we've covered a few things there, but I do have we have some questions from people that you get asked a lot. If I might fire these your way. On the question of the 500,000 euros, does that have to be, can that be mortgaged or not?
Well, the 500,000 euros is the required amount for the investment. If you are if you do have a mortgage, as long as it's over and above the 500,000, that's fine. So imagine you bought a 700,000 euro property and had a 200,000 euro mortgage, that's fine too. And multiple properties, you know, it doesn't have to be just one property, it can be multiple.
Okay. There are rumours that that the golden visa might be, you know, got rid of any time, as there has long been. What's the latest on that? Have you heard any such news?
Well, earlier on in the year, you know, some political parties were rattling the cage in the government because, you know, trying to raise the subject to scrap it, but I've not had anything since then, and I'm still applying. You know, there's been quite a focus on people who were thinking about it, and they've committed now. Just, you know, in case something did happen, you probably realize in Portugal there's been scrapping of the golden visa for real estate purchases. You know, investors that bought real estate, that's been scrapped since the 7th of October. So a lot of people have rushed to try and do it, and we do have a lot of clients that want to get it all finalized. You know, they've bought the property, they're thinking maybe in a few years' time we might do it, but they've committed to it. And as we said, there's no obligation to live in Spain. So it's quite convenient to have it there to open the way for all the other benefits of this kind of permit.
Indeed, buyers have said to me that you know, they don't necessarily know whether they'll use it, but they're getting it just in case for going forward. Can I ask about the asset classes? The threshold to make that 500,000 euros, can I combine stock market investments with real estate?
Well, actually, they will only permit you to stick with one category. So either the 500,000 in the real estate or the other kind of investments. I can let you know the other types of investments as well. You can invest in 2 million euros in Spanish debt, public debt, and if you can invest 1 million euros in shares or holdings, investment funds or venture capital funds, and bank deposits as well. They are available investments, but you'll have to stick with one or the other.
Right. What about, we've touched on this before, but will I become Spanish tax resident by default if I get this visa?
Well, it's something if you did relocate and you did spend, you know, more than 183 days during the Spanish tax year, you'll probably find that you do become tax resident, but you can limit the time in Spain and not commit to that kind of status. But please bear in mind, obviously you have the 90-day rule. It's no longer an issue. You have to be tax resident somewhere. So if you're not tax resident in your country of origin anymore, it's probably going to end in Spain because you are in receipt of a permit. But, you know, you have to be tax resident somewhere. But if you don't spend enough time in Spain, you'd probably be able to keep your UK or country of origin status.
Thank you. About getting a job. Are there any restrictions on work?
On work, well, once you have the permit, you know, the 3-year permit, you'll be able to register for self-employment, employment. You know, there's no restrictions. You are able, it is apt for employment, and the family members, they are able to work in Spain.
Okay. Another question on the €500 issue. If I own a property in Spain that is now worth more than the 500,000 euros I paid for it, oh, it's now worth more than it, but I paid less than that when I bought it. How does that pan out?
Well, basically the criteria is on the purchase price. So a villa that you bought for 400,000 now valued 500,000 won't come under the criteria. We would need the investor to invest a further 100,000 euros in that case. So current value does not really come into it, it's the purchase price.
If my wife and I bought a Costa Blanca property for 575,000 euros in joint names, how easy is it to get the deeds changed so that you can apply for another golden visa?
Okay, well, basically, you know, it really depends on your marital regime. UK, you know, English, Scottish, Welsh, and Northern Irish, which is our main clients, are really separation of assets. Their marital regime by default is separation, and actually that would be 50-50. So you'll only have invested half of the amount each. So one spouse or the other will need to invest a further amount to get to the 500,000 to then be able to be the investor, make an application, and the spouse with the marriage certificate, the dependent spouse.
Okay. What about how
sorry,
many
I'm
days
just
a
gonna
year will I have to spend in Spain with this visa? Is there a minimum?
Sorry, Liz, I was just gonna confirm with the community of assets. You know, I have clients from the States and or you know, from Scandinavian countries where they have community of assets, which is different. You're buying into the marriage, and actually you could buy for 575 together and assign one the spouse as the investor and the other a dependent spouse. But we'll need to normally choose which one, and because the financial means test is in the name of the investor, I would say the spouse with the incomes or the savings to required in the financial means to be selected as the investor. The spouse with the dependent spouse, we cannot use their financial means for an application. It has to be the investor's savings or incomes. Sorry, please repeat the last question.
The minimum amount of days that I'm allowed to that I have to spend in the country to keep the visa.
Okay, well, basically you need to show at least one trip a year, okay, to Spain, preferably with a Spanish entry stamp when they enter the Schengen area in the passport, and later an exit stamp. Otherwise, you know, there's no border. The Schengen area is borderless, so if we can't show an entry stamp or an exit, we'll have to show when you did legally enter or leave Spain. Same applies doing the investor application in Spain as a tourist. We need to show when you legally entered, but preferably a direct entry to Spain. In some case, a lot of cases, I have clients who have driven over, especially digital nomads, and they've gone via France. So I always ask them to, you know, minute they get to Spain, you know, keep all your receipts, spend the night in a hotel, for example, get your invoice. You know, the more we can get in Spain, all in Spanish, the better. Otherwise, we need to start translating other documents. But you need to do at least one trip per annual periods of the permit in Spain.
Great. These really give me unlimited time across the whole Schengen area.
Absolutely. There's no 90-day rule, but as I did mention earlier, it's important your tax status. You have to be tax resident somewhere. So, you know, if you spent 3 months in Spain, 3 months in the country of origin, 3 months in France or Germany, you need to have really complied with the tax requirements for their fiscal resident status in one country. And most people will be tax resident in the country of origin, but you need to ensure that you still comply with that country's tax requirements, because typically you normally need to spend a number of days in the country to maintain that tax status.
It seems this visa has so many benefits and flexibility compared with the other options. But Mark, what if I can't afford to spend 500,000 euros on a property? Briefly, what are the alternatives for me to get round the 90-day rule?
Well, for Spain, imagine you're you're a remote worker, you're not ready to retire, and your company is going to allow you, or you work for yourself, and you do require, comply with the digital nomad requirements, then that's something that I would recommend. But if in the case that you are ready to, early retire or give up employment, or you are retired, then a non-lucrative visa is the most popular kind of visa right now to be able to relocate to Spain.
Yeah, you've been sorting out applications for that, I know as well. So with the back to the golden visa, I mean, yeah, we're hearing that it's going to carry on going. Lots of people will be very keen to hear more about it. How can they what's the first steps in terms of getting in touch with you, preparing for this?
Well, we do offer a first free consultation, and that's something is really essential to get to the brass tacks, the nitty gritty, of a person's situation. Each client is really different, and therefore we do recommend, we can do an appointment online, Zoom, Teams, telephone, or even in the office if a client would like to really see if they're eligible for it. And that's something we can arrange. You'll be able to see the details on our website, sun-lawyers.com, and basically, we can assist you and advise you, not just for the visa, but the future taxation, etc.
Brilliant. Is there anything you want to add that we haven't mentioned on this process? Advice to people thinking about this right now, Mark?
Yes, timing is the most important thing for the whole, all these ways to relocate to Spain. And basically, some paperwork expires, okay? Some people are not aware, for example, the marriage certificate, it can't be older than 3 months. So there's a lot of pitfalls to avoid, and that's why it's good to have someone like myself to really advise. Also, one of the recent changes that we've had is the criminal record checks are now valid for 6 months. So that's quite a good thing if people, if it's taken quite a while for a document like the marriage certificate to come through. You may not have been married in UK, you could have been married. I have people married all over the world, and it can really vary, the time to get the updated certificate. But the criminal record check is now valid for 6 months, so that's a bit of breathing space.
I think that's a really brilliant point, Mark, that this process we've seen it change so much with the visas since we started talking about this 3 years ago, the withdrawal period. So I think, speaking to experts, you're ahead of all the changes, the way things are evolving, and the ways you can get success. So
Exactly.
thank you very much, and I look forward to talking about visas with you at going forward at Place in the Sun exhibitions and all sorts. So I hope that's been useful to everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Liz. Thank you for accompanying us, and I look forward to the new year and the Place in the Sun exhibitions, where we do discuss these kind of things on stage. So thank you very much, Liz.
Thank you.
Take care.
Goodbye. Take care.
That's being stopped. We'll close down. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye, Liz.
Take care.
Adios. Adios.